Looking for an easy yet elegant card idea? Hi, I'm Jessica Taylor from Ink It Up with Jessica, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make cards with scallop dies and patterned paper. For these cards, I use this largest scallop die from Stampin' Up's Scalloped Contours dies, and I find it easiest to start with a piece of 4" by 5 1/4" basic white cardstock for this background here. I just find that it makes it really easy to line up this die because it fits almost perfectly. So it's easy for me to line it up. If you find that you have problems catching the edges, you might want to cut your paper just a little bit larger. The patterned paper pieces that I use are 3 3/4" by 4". So if your paper has an obvious up and down, you want the 4" to be this way. So kind of across your pattern. You may want to make this piece just a little bit shorter if your greeting or whatever you want to stamp up here is longer or larger. So the first thing we're going to do is tape these two pieces together. I'm going to put the tape on the back of my pattern paper piece. I'm using Stampin' Seal, which is a double-sided tape. You can use whatever kind of adhesive you like to use. You want to make sure that you just have it around the edges, and I like to have it up close at the top because that is where it's going to fall on your die cut piece, and you want to make sure that this piece stays stuck together. So then I just line it up. So if you can line it up as best as possible with the white piece, that's going to make sure that your paper is straight across even once you die cut it. I'm going to grab my cut and emboss machine. And to die cut, I want to use the number 1 with the number 2 and then a number 3. Then we'll put our paper piece down here and just center the die right on that white piece. So if you want to make sure that these stay in the right spot, if you're worried about it shifting at all, you might want to use either washi tape or Post-it tape, even just a Post-it note to hold this in place. I like to live dangerously. I'm just gonna leave that right there. Then we're gonna put another number 3 on top and roll that on through to die cut it. Depending on your machine, you might need to roll it through more than once to make sure that all the little pieces are actually die cut, especially down here where it's double layers. I use the pointed end of the Take Your Pick tool to just push out any pieces that don't fall out by themselves. And usually I do this over my garbage can to kind of keep my pieces from making a big mess. And then once you have those all pushed out, we're ready to stamp our greeting. I've decided to make this a birthday card, so I'm going to stamp in Night of Navy, which is a color in the patterned paper. And I'm using the Happy Birthday stamp from the Circle Saying stamp set. This is one of my favorite sets, of course, because I got to help design it. And so it's got some very versatile greetings that many of them will work well for this type of card. So I'm just going to ink up the Happy Birthday. And then I want to line it up kind of according to this line here. And I like to offset mine to the right-hand side of the card, like so. Next, I like to add this to my card front with Stampin' Dimensionals. It just gives it a little extra pop and dimension so that it really highlights these scallops that we cut. Because this is such a big piece, I'm not shy with my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to put 1 on each corner, 1 on each long side in the middle, and then 2 more kind of in the center of those. Then we'll just pop off the paper backing. And we're ready to put this on a card base. For these 2 cards, I used color card bases. This one is Real Red, and this one is Pretty Peacock, kind of both colors that are in the pattern papers here. For this one, I'm going to use Basic White to just really make that blue paper pop off. And my card bases are 5.5" by 8.5", and I've scored it at 4 1/4". And then we're just gonna center the die cut piece right on the front And I just love that look. So at this point, you can add any embellishments if you'd like to. On this one, I just added some little brass butterflies. This one I left just totally plain. I also made another version of this one where I embossed the greeting in gold embossing powder and used cherry cobbler for my card base. I thought that looked a little more elegant, but I really do like the real red. It's very festive. And then on the inside of these cards, I also cut a scalloped piece that I just used a smaller piece of patterned paper at the bottom, depending on how much space you want to be able to write. This one I stamped a greeting as well as adding some patterned paper on the bottom. And then this one also has just a little bit of patterned paper at the bottom. One last tip is before you go to cut your next piece with the scalloped die, make sure that you push all of the extra little pieces of paper out of the die because that will help it cut better the next time. So just make sure that you don't have any extras in there. So there you go, easy peasy and very elegant. I hope that this video inspires you to play with your patterned paper and dies. Thanks so much for watching.